Joined now by Mike Robinson from the Toledo Rockets Radio Network. Mike, Rob, thanks for joining us once again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Coming up on Friday after Thanksgiving, Rockets wrap up the regular season, taking on Central Michigan. It'll be the final home game for the Rockets, final home game for the seniors. And a year ago this time, we thought it was going to be the final home game for Cody Thompson after he broke his leg against Eastern Michigan, but able to get that extra year of eligibility. So he goes through the senior day festivities for a second time. You don't see that too often. But for Cody Thompson, this is a guy that obviously has made a major impact on the Toledo Rocket record book, but he's perhaps made a bigger impact on the program than just what the statistics are.
And you're 100% right about last year. I mean, they had to win the MAC and get a bowl game in order for Cody Thompson to come back this year. And that's a good thing because they needed him this season. And not just necessarily on the field, but the things that he did off the field, as you said. He's just such a great leader, a strong person in the locker room. And anytime you have a guy like that leaving a program, you're looking to say, okay, who's the next leader? And you can't duplicate a guy like that, just like you can't duplicate a Bruce Gradkowski. You can't duplicate a Kareem Hunt and what he meant to the program. And for Cody Thompson, for his leadership on the field and off the field, that's something that the program is really going to miss.
Cody Thompson, academic All-American. You with Cody Thompson, John V. Johnson, and Deontay Johnson. You've got three receivers with numbers that you've never seen before on a Division I college football program. They're going to lose those guys. Who's going to be able to step up next year at receiver for the Rockets?
Well, you know what? It's a lot of questions to be answered that, who's going to step up for the receiver crew. And they got a lot of young guys and a lot of young talent that the Rockets have been maturing for this moment. You got one guy you can speak of, his hometown guy, Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell finally got his first touchdown catch. He made impact here. And you know what? And that's what gets the kids going. You finally get to touch the field. You making plays, and you're saying, hey, I'm home. So it's young guys on the field everywhere that we haven't seen make plays quite yet, but the time will come for them next year, and we'll find that out with the receiving corps and the quarterback unit.
Rockets will take on Central Michigan, a Chippewa team that, well, they're not very good. They lost to Bowling Green, and while the Falcons are playing a lot better the second half of the season, they did lose to BG. So Toledo shouldn't have any problems. They can have as much turkey as they want Thursday and just roll across victory over Chips, right?
Definitely not. I think we know that. I think you know that. That was very facetious. You know that. No, I'm kidding. No. But you know that this is not going to be that easy. This is a football team that's got a great defense, despite them having a terrible offense. And you can say that by the numbers. Their offense is definitely not one of the best. Is almost in every category. They're in the bottom half. And what makes their defense so special is this defense spends so much time on the football field. They're only really averaging up 15 points a game. So this is something that the Rockets should be concerned about. Jason Candle's not sleeping good at night. I can guarantee you that. And neither is Brian George, the defensive coordinator. They saying, hey, this is something going on here. Not Bowling Green. Bowling Green, they beat this team, but you saw what happened. They was able to score a lot of points. And the Rockets have a hard time sometimes scoring on secondaries that do not give up plays. The secondary has 9 interceptions. They do a good job, and they only give up 147 yards in the air. So this is something the Rockets are really concerned about.
This Toledo offense has really been feast or famine because they will put up 50 points one week and barely be able to get any offense moving the next week. That should be concerning going up against the Central defense?
Well, I don't think it should be too alarming, but it's something to circle. I mean, the Rockets really play well versus bad teams. You saw Kent State last week. They went out there and they mollywopped them in the bad weather and everything. Yeah, it was pretty cold out there on the sidelines, if you were wondering. It was so cold out there. I mean, I had punters and I had Eli Peters telling me, he said, I've never played in the snow before. He said, but you know what? I knew I couldn't lose this football game either. So, seeing those guys step up in that time, and when they play bad teams, they do well. And this is a bad football team, but they're not going to be overlooked. They're not going to eat too much turkey, I can guarantee you that. But they're going to be ready to play this football game because guys like Cody Thompson in that locker room not trying to go out on the home field loss.
Speaking of Eli Peters, he is expected to get the start on Friday. Carter Bradley did see playing time against Kent, as Jason Candle said. He's a man of the people. People wanted to see Carter Bradley, so they saw Carter Bradley against Kent. What did you see out of this highly touted freshman quarterback?
I mean, you saw a freshman quarterback. You saw a guy playing football from Florida in the cold and the freezing snow, So he's trying to adjust. Everyone's trying to get used to the northern Ohio weather, and that's something that's going to play effect in it. So you didn't really see everything that you wanted to. Everyone was like, hey, this kid is this, this, and that. He's a young freshman, still going to make mistakes, and he has to make those mistakes now because it's going to make the quarterback room a little bit interesting next offseason. So one thing that I did see is that he was poised enough to go out there, play some football, make mistakes, but he's human. And I think that's something that the people have to realize. He's a human, he's a young kid, and he's going to do some things that's not so great. But as he gets older and gets better, you watch guys like Logan Woodside, who had to go through so much adversity to get to the point that he was being the best quarterback to lead the program. So it's going to take some time to mature that man, but I'm excited to see the quarterback battle in the offseason.
Was the win last week at Kent doubly sweet because of all of the Bowling Green connections on this Kent coaching staff?
Well, you know what? I think so. I mean, that's something that everybody pointed out. We talked about in the radio broadcast. I think anytime you get a chance to get something over Bowling Green and you're Toledo, you're going to always try to get that advantage, and likely so. I mean, Bowling Green will do the same thing. So this is something that the Rockets have to look at, too. Hey, Bowling Green beat these guys. We can, too, because you cannot slip and let this thing go away because, you know, bowl season is here, and not 6 wins always mean you're going bowling. So we still have to get this win to get the bowl.
Yeah, they're at the bowl eligibility. Another win certainly going to increase their chances and perhaps get that trip to Bahamas, which I think everybody in the Rocket program is looking forward to for the experience of it. You look at Central Michigan's offense. This is a Toledo defense that has started to play better. I think we're in agreement that the defensive line has been keying that kind of renaissance on this Rocket defense.
I mean, young guys have been stepping up. I love what Jamal Hines brings to the table. Terrence Taylor. These are some young guys we're going to see for years to come. I'm talking about we got 3 more seasons because they were pure freshmen on the field. So it's good to see it. You got guys like Tuzar Skipper who has 6.5 sacks or so on the season. You're going to miss guys like that, but you want them to step up and keep showing the way for the young guys up front to keep making plays. And on the back half of that, I mean, Hines has 2 of the interceptions. So the secondary have 9 interceptions, 11 total. So they make plays on the football, and that happens because the pressure up front is so good. And can't forget about Big Nate Childress up there as well. He does a very good job with his hands, clogging those gaps to stop the inside run too.
Playing the day after Thanksgiving, what does that mean for the team? Are guys going to be able to come home? Are the guys from Toledo going to be hosting a bunch of kids over? For Mama going to be cooking a big bird for everybody on the team? Position coaches are going to be hosting kids on Wednesday and Thursday for Thanksgiving? Well,
you know, I was a part of the staff in 2016, and the one experience that I did have is we got to go to Western Michigan with PJ Fleck for Thanksgiving, but we had a great meal. The game wasn't so good, but the meal was great. You know, you still treat it as a game meal. The meal has just changed up a little bit. These guys understand what they're doing, and they're trying to be professionals. And as amateurs, you got to train like a professional. And so they understand that they can't overload on Thanksgiving turkey and things like that. You got to do everything in moderation, but they're going to game prep the way they do every week. One thing that Coach Candle and the staff is about is consistency, and they're all about making sure you stay on that routine of your schedule. And that's one big thing that they're not going to switch up because they don't want to say, hey, you can go home, go on vacation, come back, because now you're leaving that hole for error. You want to make sure they stay together. The game is here. Just get through here. We'll have some time to get off after the bowl season. And this week, the Rockets actually have an extra day to prepare because they played on Thursday of last week. The game is on Friday, so you've got another day to heal up, rest up, condition. So it's going to be a little bit of a rested Rocket team taking on the Chips? Definitely. Rested but ready. You know, you can't say, hey, we got to be a team where we're just down right now. You can't be too down. You got to be up for this game. You got to say, hey, this is the last game in the Glass Bowl. We got to come out here firing on all cylinders when this game kicks off. When that first cannon sounds, we got to be cheering and going. This is something the Rockets cannot stay down about. This is a big week for them. I mean, this is a team that's going to come in here touting a great defense, and they're led up front by their defensive line, and the Rockets have had some problems up front dealing with the defensive linemen. You saw that at Northern Illinois when they got a lot of pressure with Sutton. He blocked the punt as well, doing great things. So they got to protect. They got to do a good job up front because it could be cold outside, and that's the thing. If you're going to win football games, you saw how they won it versus Kent State. They won on the ground behind about 200 yards of Bryant Koback and Art Tompkins. You got to run the ball, and the offensive line is the first thing. So if they can't create the run lanes, it's going to be tough for the pass because this secondary of Central Michigan is pretty stingy. So what you're saying is the Rockets need to be like those doorbuster early bird shoppers on Black Friday, be ready right when the door opens, get in, get the deal, and then get to sleep later on Friday after they get the victory over Central Michigan. Mike Robinson from the Rocket Radio Network, thank you for joining us. Thanks for having me.